My name is Labita Johnson. I will be hosting on tonight in the absence of my senior manager, Andrea Mason. But this would not be possible without Honorable Mayor Raz J. Baraka, who will be here shortly. So the mayor saw a vision about a year and a half ago after he ran for re-election. He saw that the residents of the city had some concerns. So he started this office so we can address the concerns of the residents. I am also a homeowner here in the West Ward. I am also affected. So the same things that happen to you happen to us. So we want to make sure that we are solution-driven. And just to share you the purpose, we are bridging the gap in communication between the community and City Hall, decision-making based on the wants and needs of the community. And the community has a voice, and the mayor wants it to be heard. This will enable Newark's decision-makers to consider the opinions of the stakeholders when considering and/or deciding programs, projects, initiatives, and developments that may happen in our city that impact our lives. So who are the stakeholders? We are the community, the individual groups who live, work, play, study, visit, or invest here in our great city. So now I will turn this over to Director Kareem Adeem, and I thank you all for coming.
Good evening. My name is Kareem Adeem. I'm the Acting Director of the Department of Water and Sewer Utilities. Councilwoman is just walking in, so let's congratulate the Councilwoman for bringing us on board. Councilwoman to bring us on board to come into the community and like you on that.
Okay, I walked right into this. All right. Good evening, everyone. So first of all, I just want to welcome everybody to tonight's meeting. I want to thank Director Adeem and the People's Assembly for hosting this. And basically, we're here to get an update on our lead water program, lead service line program. I'm sorry. So I don't have much to offer except for thanking you all to come out tonight and get this update. And whatever you hear today, to definitely transform that to your neighbors and family members so that they're aware and they're properly informed. And so that's the reason why we're hosting these meetings, is so residents can be properly informed and not, getting your information based off of rumor mill or hearing a lot of things. So this is part of our city to be responsible in delivering information so that you know. So with that being said, I have my aide in the back, Hassan Sabur, who's going to be here the entire time. Haz, raise your hand, wave to the people, smile, show them some teeth, who's going to be here for a while. We have another event, but we will be here for most of the time. So thank you all, and I'm looking forward to the update, right? Thank you, Director. Okay.
So the water, here with me in the Water Department is our Assistant Director, Tiffany Stewart. Also, we have from the Business Administrator's Office, Melvin Waldrop. We have Halima Smith. She'll go over Halima Shabazz. She'll go over a presentation on how you install the filters and replace the filter cartridge. So just to update you today, we put in a corrosion inhibitor, orthophosphate, back in May. I think on May the 7th. Lead levels are continuing to be reduced monthly. Right now, we're saying, we told you when we first put in the orthophosphate that we'll see the effects in 6 to 8 months. So we're a little over 7 months with the orthophosphate in, and we're seeing the effects. Lead levels right now, from January to June of 2019, we were at 58 parts per billion. Now we're a little at about 33 parts per billion, between 31.1 and 33 parts per billion. That's significant. That's a significant drop from where we at 6 months ago. The orthophosphate is starting to take its effect, right? So we're hoping that by our next testing period, when it ends in June, we'll be under the 15 parts per billion. To date, we've replaced a little over 5,800 lead service lines. Mr. Waldrop will come up later on and go through what we're doing with the lead service replacement program. So first, we wanted to update you and let you know that the orthophosphate is working. We're still replacing lead service lines for free. We're still doing a massive upgrades in our water treatment plant and our water distribution system. This little video we'll take you through is on. You can get it on our NewarkLeadServiceLine.com website. So this video just shows you the day in the life of having a lead service line replaced and what we do during replacement. And again, after replacement, Tiffany has shared with you some programs we rolled out to do our post-testing. We also have the state, we have Allison in the back. and Allison helps us with the state, giving out literature, our lead-free program. Lead is not only a source of lead, you don't only find it in water, but you find it in paint, toys, and other different things, dust, and other things like that. So along with the state and the city, we thought that it would be important as we give our updates on where we at with the lead service replacement program and where we at with our lead results and our treatment that we put in the orthophosphate, the state come along and also give us additional information and share the resources that we have available. We're still doing free testing at the health department Monday through Friday from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. It's at 110 William Street. We're still giving out free filter replacement cartridges and free water filters, right? And our team is still going door to door. Those people, we started giving out filters in October of 2018, and we've been going door to door, reaching out to those customers who haven't came back to one of the distribution sets to pick up their replacement cartridge. It's a little over a year. So we're leaving those little door hangers that we have on the table back there. Can I get a door hanger? We'll pass around a few different parts of literature that we'll pass out. Omar. So this is Omar Tun, one of our engineers, inspectors. So we have a couple of little different door hangers that we leave on your door. But you know, if we wasn't able to reach you, because it's about time to filter, give you a year's supply of replacement cartridges. And some people, for one reason or another, hasn't visited one of the recreation sites or the health department or our Central Avenue location to pick up a replacement. So we're going to come door to door just to give you a reminder that you're due to pick up a year's supply of replacement cartridges. We also have some flushing instructions that we'll pass out as you use the filter. What you should do, we want you to flush prior to using the filter, right? Flush your water with the filter off prior to using it. It helps the filter, you know, when you're away from home for periods of time, it helps the filter work more effectively. Right? And it's important to follow the instructions that's on the filter. So again, this video just shows you the day in the life of what we do when we replace the lead service line. Thank you. We want to, so that's the process we do when we replace lead service lines. We want to thank Humanity Baptist Church and Reverend Robert DeVoe for inviting us in tonight. We want to thank you. We want to thank you. Brian. So we're going to bring up, Melvin, is it you? No, Brian? The website or you? You, okay. We're going to bring up Mr. Melvin Wobdrop from the Business Administrator's Office to go over the lead service line replacement program.
Good evening, and thank you for coming out. You've probably been to previous meetings, but I think it's important for us to keep you in the loop as we go along. And we're making significant progress in terms of getting these lead service lines replaced. We've done the purpose introductions. The items that we want to discuss with you tonight. The drinking water update, Director Adeem has done some of that. The water filter program status, Ms. Stewart will address that. And what I want to talk about is the water lead service line replacements in the central ward. And before I get into the central ward, I just want to kind of give you an overview of where we are at this point. So if you could go to my slides. Okay. So the goal, and again, I believe that's important that we be anchored in goals. And so the goal is to replace 18,000 lead service lines in the city of Newark and its affected service areas within budget and on schedule while meeting or exceeding the city's MBWBE requirements. Where we are, lead service line replacement completions. Thus far, I think and we're probably farther along than the last time I saw the dashboard, but we should be approaching approximately 6,000 at this point. The last time I looked at the dashboard this morning, and I think we were around 5,700 and something, but we should be very close to 6,000 at this point. Thus far we have 7 active contracts, and we have 7 contracts pending. And we hope to be going to the City Council on tomorrow with another contract. So if we're able to get that one awarded, then we'll have 8 active, and then we'll have 6 left to award. And the objective is to have those 6 awarded by February 22nd. So after February 22nd, certainly towards the end of February, we will have all of the work under contract, with the exception of probably around 1,000 to 1,500 lead line replacements. And that will be wrap-up work that we will come back to. Let me go back. Yeah. Just let me talk about the MBE and WBE and Newark hires. Again, this has been an opportunity for us to generate some economics within the community, and we've really been aggressive attempting to do that. We have Newark businesses. I think we have about 3 or 4 Newark businesses. Thus far, they have been paid close to $1 million. And I think there's about $7 million left for them to bill as part of all of this work. And so again, that's money coming back into the community. Hopefully, because you look at the multiplier effect means the number of times that money turns over in the community. Hopefully, it's turning over in the community multiple times. I can't guarantee that, but hopefully there are businesses out there in the community that this money is getting spent with. The other important thing about this is that we're hiring Newarkers as part of this effort. Between all of the contractors, we probably have anywhere from 30 to 40 Newarkers working on this project every day out there. And when you calculate out, and this comes from that certified payroll, when you calculate out what they're being paid on a weekly basis, you're probably looking at in the neighborhood of around $100,000 to $150,000 every week. And again, that's based on the regular hourly rate plus overtime that they're able to earn. A laborer makes around $41 an hour, and again, that's straight without any overtime. An equipment operator, I think, makes around $52 dollars an hour. So again, it's difficult work out there, but again, it's an opportunity for our people to put some money in their pocket. And I think that we can applaud that. And again, that's something that the mayor has insisted on, that Newarkers have an opportunity to participate in this work. And just let me go a step further, because again, in terms of developing our MBEs, sometimes they need some assistance in that regard. Again, they need working capital, they need equipment, they need assistance in terms of keeping their books properly. So through or working in conjunction with Investment Newark, we've set up a program where they can go and get assistance. And again, the objective here is not just have them work on this project. The objective is to prepare them to pursue other work that may come about in the future, either in the city of Newark or in other places, because again, there are lead service lines that need replacing throughout the country. And so hopefully we'll be able to grow and develop some businesses here that can take advantage of that work. Okay. Next slide. this is the central ward in terms of what's remaining to be replaced in terms of lead service lines and what we've replaced, thus far. Now, you should see this begin to increase as we let these other, contracts. And I just want to go through this a little bit. Kareem talked a little bit about, this. But again, what you see here is a trench being dug or having been dug, in the street. And again, I heard at the council meeting that, we are only doing partials. But again, the replacement can be partial, okay, which runs from the main, okay, to the curb, or partial can run from the home to the curb. So yes, we're doing partials, okay, but there can also be a full, and we're doing a lot of fulls. We're actually doing more fulls than we are partials, and a full goes all the way from the main to the house. So that's how the work, breaks down. But this is a trench. This looks like it's probably, well, this looks like it's going from the main. It got cut off here, so I can't tell you whether it's going from the main to the curb or the main, to the house. Next slide. No, go back. Okay, so once the cut is done, this is a restoration. So you'll see these patches throughout your street, okay? And as Kareem indicated, I know that you find this very attractive or very unattractive because there are going to be a number of them out there. So what we intend to do is to come back in terms of full restorations, to come back and pave the the entire street. And again, in some instances, this may be a street that gets paved through the lead service line replacement, or it may be a street that gets paved through the city. And again, when you look at some of this, I mean, although we have the cuts here, but you can see where the cracks are. And so that street is probably maybe on the city's list to be replaced. But again, that's going to be coordinated with the city. Our paving program will be coordinated with the city, and it will also be coordinated with PSE&G. Because again, we don't want to go in and pave the street and then have somebody else come back and tear up the street. Once the work is done, the paving is done, then we want to be able to sustain that for a considerable period of time. Next slide. Now this is something that you probably see, we get complaints about this, but again, if you look at this is from a sidewalk cut here, and what we do with sidewalk cuts, because it's concrete, we will, and given the weather, we will put an asphalt patch there. But again, that will come back and we'll restore that fully with concrete once the weather permits us to do that. Go to the next slide. So it should look, when we fully restore it, it should look something like that. Okay? Next slide. And this is where we've dug in the grassy area there, and we should be coming back again during the spring and overseeding and restoring that with grass. Next one. Okay. So go to your dashboard.
This is central right now.
Okay, this is central. Okay.
Central, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So you can see that we got 1,530 complete, and about 150 something has been completed to date, about 9.4% of the total. But again, you should see that begin to ramp up as we get more contracts in place and begin our concentration on the Central Ward. Okay. Any questions before I sit down? Yes.
How do you determine where do you place the lead service lines?
We determine them from, we have records from water that we use.
And that those records are, you can open those records?
Can you open those records?
Open.
I'm pretty sure you can. I mean, you can submit an open request.
Do you have a list of, where you determine you place the lines at?
I don't
Say you
understand.
gotta do like 18,000.
Uh-huh.
How did you determine where the lead service lines are?
Their addresses.
So the city has a database that we provided to the city has a database that we provided to the state. The old timers kept good records. We've actually replaced a little over 5,800 lead service lines, but we've actually went through 6,500 lead service lines to replace the 5,800 leads, a little over 5,800, says Lewis.
So can a regular citizen?
You can go on it. So basically, so Brian will go through this in a minute. You can go on NorthLeadServiceLine.com. You can click in
Find out where-
lead service line replacement. There's a map up there. And you'll see all the lead service lines in the entire city. But if you punch in any individual address, when you punch in your address, it'll come up and it'll say, let's just do, as soon as Brian gets to it. So as he's navigating through the system, you're able to punch in your address. If you say 55 Goldsmith, it'll come up. It'll tell you you have a lead service line or you don't, right? It'll tell you what contract you're assigned to and the time frame that contractor has to replace your lead service line. Also, we're currently working on updating the system. Soon we'll be able to also, if you click on your house, you'll be able to tell the last time you had your water tested. And when you do, we're doing post-testing too after replacement, and after 6 months, you'll tell when you need to have your water tested.
And also, like.
Could you give me 1 second?
Okay.
I want to get somebody else, because yeah, sir.
First of all, before I ask you a question, I would like to call the mayor, the business administrator, water department, and the city council for coming to the community, giving the community consistent information above and beyond the lies from the New York, lies that are fit to print, better known as the New York Times. So that's the first thing. My question is twofold. One is, what is your annual projection per year? How many lines do you want to replace annually? And do you have any data on how many lines are partials and how many are full as far as replacement?
So the answer to your first question, thank you for applauding us. We rolled out this program, when we first rolled it out in 2018, the plan was to replace 18,000 plus lead service lines in 10 phases over 8 years. If you know, towards the summer, thanks to our county executive and our Exodus delegation and our city council and the mayor and this administration, we were able to secure $120 million from the Exodus County Improvement Authority that we accelerated this program. And we're looking to have this program wrapped up in 24 to 30 months, and it could be quicker. At the current rate of replacements now, we're replacing about 95 lead service lines per day. And as Mr. Waldrop said when he left, we're looking to get 6 more contracts executed. And as we get those 6 more contracts executed, we may finish it even quicker, right? I don't want to throw it.
I mean, that's what we're shooting for. I think that we're on pace to achieve that. And why that's important. Fear number one, we don't want people having lead any longer than it needs, than we need to be able to correct that. And again, we're doing it through the phosphate treatment. But again, the ultimate solution is to replace all the lead lines, the lead service lines, there. And it's an inconvenience, for people. Some people can get the filters fitted correctly on their faucets. Other people cannot. So again, we want to try to accelerate this to the extent that we can. And right now, we're on pace to possibly get this done by the end of the year if the weather holds and we don't run into any difficulty.
So we're having a little technical difficulties bringing the site up. I'll be right back to you, Manera, 1 second. So I want to finish answering your question. So currently, we're replacing a little over prior to September of 2019, we started replacing lead service lines in March, and we had replaced a little over 704 prior to September 2018. So we had placed 704. To date, we've replaced about 5,800. This updates every day, about 9:30 in the morning. So from September to today, within 4 months, we replaced over 5,000 lead service lines. So we're replacing a little over 1,100 per month as the weather cooperate with us and as we brought more contractors on board, which may allow us to complete this project a little earlier. Again, we'll have one contract that remains, and that would just be a cleanup contract going to areas that we were unable for some reason to get the owner at that time or get access, right? We move all the lead service we want to keep going on block. And we switched up our approach by going block to block, neighborhood to neighborhood. And doing that allows us to be more effective. So you see signs going around in some neighborhoods says, we're coming to your neighborhood. I have my lead service line replaced. We normally give you a two-week look ahead where the contractors come out and they start contacting people that signed the right of entry. And we hang out these little door knockers. Door knockers if we wasn't able to get the right of entry that day, so you can call us so we can come back and schedule for inspection and schedule your whole block to get replaced, or at least 80% of it at that time. Right, we'll come back on Saturdays if we need to work to catch those people that wasn't able to be home during the week when we replaced those lead service lines. So I hope I answered most of your questions.
Part B, if you can, it's okay. Do you have any present data on how many of the lines at replacements have been partial and how many have been full?
Yes, we do have that data. We were trying, were you getting Wi-Fi in? Are you able to pull it up?
No.
So because he can't pull up the Wi-Fi, but on we have a dashboard with Melwood winning. It'll show you how many was partial, how many was full. It's not on there. We have an internal dashboard that we keep track of. All right? So this don't show the partials.
No.
So, but we do keep track of that. Right? So how many were partials, how many were fulls?
How can we get that information?
To date, you can open that information for us if you want, or we can provide it to the councilwoman and you can get it from her. We'll provide.
I wasn't concerned about Oprah. I was just concerned about just how we could get the.
We'll provide it to the councilwoman and you can call her to get it from her. If we had Wi-Fi right here, I would actually pull it up. Right, I would have pulled it up and showed it. So I don't want you to think we don't want to share it. He's having problems.
I don't feel that way at all.
Not only to you, you're answering the question, but there's other people in here, so I want to make that clear, right? Yes, ma'am.
What about if a person is not computer savvy, right? Is there any other way they can obtain this information?
Sure, you can call 973-733, and it's on those flyers and the information that we pass out, the water department's number. So any that, like the flyer you may have in your lap, so you don't got to rush to write it down, 973-733-6303.
One more just question. So if you're a homeowner, I live in the northern district part of Newark. I have not seen any flyers on my door. I have not even been approached. So I'm not sure if my block is affected. How would I know that?
So you can go, so what's your address?
153 Sylvan Avenue.
153 Sylvan?
Yes.
So are you on East Sylvan or West Sylvan?
I'm on West.
So this is actually what I'm saying. When you go to NewarkLeadServiceLine.com, or you can use your smartphone if you have a phone. You type this in. Our records show this resident doesn't have a lead service line. Was built in 1986 or later, and is connected to the Wanacue system.
Okay.
Right? According to the city, city records, your home does not have a lead service line. The city is offering free water testing and inspection. If you still would like to have your water tested for free, or your home inspected for free, and the inspection takes about 5 minutes, you can call us at 973-733-6303.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So someone didn't come out because they looked at this data and seen that we were not affected.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Okay.
Or our records. So we know that in 1953, the city banned the use of lead service lines. You couldn't install them. So if your house was built after 1953, you couldn't use a lead service line, right? And you're on a Wanacue system. The failed inhibitor is on a Pequannock system. So you're on the Wanacue system. That's why I asked you, are you on East Silver or West Silver? However, we're replacing lead service lines citywide, no matter what system you're on. We're going to replace them citywide. Wow. So now this, it looks like the site is coming up. I guess she's getting through now, right?
Pastor gave him Wi-Fi.
Oh, he gave him, okay, that's great. So this is,
This right now is pulling back up the map so you can show the systems.
okay. So he's gonna pull the map back up.
You see the blue and the orange on the boards and the systems.
So right here, when you see the two different colors on the map, and I'm gonna step over here, this is the Wanacue system, which is not affected. This is the Pequannock system that's affected. Right, but we're replacing lead service lines all over. Go ahead.
So, even though we're in the Central Ward, and I'm a lifelong resident of Central Ward who just relocated to Newark, but we all travel throughout this whole city and we purchase, we go to restaurants and et cetera, and eat from different places throughout the city. So every resident should be concerned whether they live in the south, north, east, west, or whatever side. We all affected, right? My area, I'm in the North Ward, and I have like 2 pints per billion, which no levels of lead is safe in your water, right? So I'm not in that area, but 2 pints per billion, and people also in my area, which they said that the lead service lines are not in there, like you just, the terms up. What do you do for people? You said you still offer those individuals testing, and what if they lead service lines are not, lead service lines? What do you do for people who still got lead?
So
East Ward is affected by lead, but they saying that it's in another.
I don't know if the East Ward is
chronic, but they still got lead.
so you asked like, you asked like 6 different questions. I'm gonna
So
ask
what
you.
do you do for
So anyone who wants a free water test can get a free water test. Anyone who wants a free lead inspection can get a free lead inspection. The city is replacing all lead service lines throughout the entire city. Anyone that tests above the 15 parts per billion, no matter where you live at, you can get a free water filter. The city on May the 7th of 2018 started introducing orthophosphate into the system to coat the pipes to reduce the exposure to lead while we replace the lead service lines. Right? And orthophosphate is already in the Wanacue system. We were using a silicate in the Pequannock system. Now we switched over to an orthophosphate. Orthophosphate is this food-grade additive that's used widely in water throughout the country, throughout the world, not just in the United States. Right? That provides that prophylactic line. If you want a free water test or you want your inspection, you can call 973-733-6303 between 9 and 5 and arrange for an inspector to come out and give you a free water test and a free lead line inspection. Right? And if you're still concerned, you have small children, you can go to the health department to get a free blood test. We're still giving out bottled water to the mothers that are nursing and have small children at the health department Monday through Friday at 110 William Street between the hours of 8:30 and 4 p.m. and at the Shani Baraka Center on Clinton Avenue between Monday through Friday between 8 to 4:30 p.m. And it's free.
So people who are below the federal level still able to get these filters?
If you qualify, you're able to get a free filter. And we've been giving out free filters since October of 18.
But I'm saying even if they below the federal level line.
Federal level what?
Whatever, it's 5%.
I don't know, federal poverty level, federal parts per billion level, federal.
Well, I know they said 15 is federal, 5 is.
So if you test above the 15 parts per billion, right, we'll give you a free water filter. Right, you can, well, if you test below the water filter, 9 detect or 2, you don't need a water filter. Right? The trigger action for a water filter is 15 parts per billion. And that's the free water filters. If you still insist on having a water filter, the city will provide you with a water filter if you need it. We're not going to argue with you about a water filter. It's free. And anybody, and again, anybody in the Pequannock system that has a lead service line, you're eligible for a free water filter and water replacement cartridge, whether it's a pitcher or Faucet mount point of use filters. All right, and they're free. So the city has aggressively rolled out a plan back in October when we announced, when we got our results from the EPA and we announced we had a program, right? And part of that plan was to give out filters immediately to reduce the exposure to lead, right? Put in a new orthophosphate system. We started injecting orthophosphate back in May and removed lead service lines and educate the community on what we're doing, and we continue to do that. Even when we thought one of the filters wasn't working, right, we let the city know, right, and the world know that we thought the filters wasn't working. Even though we pushed them to the breaking point, we still let you know. We're very transparent in that aspect. And we gave out free bottled water as an abundance of caution until we check those filters. So just to help you on the Central Ward, I don't want you to think that we're neglecting the Central Ward. Right, the Central Ward is pretty much new. If you know about the Central Ward, you know, not been in the city all my life, born and raised in the city. Most of the Central Ward is new to the point that most of the homes were built after the riot. So if you look at some of the new community properties, if you go on Urban Turner, you look at the Housing Authority properties, then you look at the one side is new community, then you look at over here where the old Hayes home was at, we have all those are new row houses. Right, if you look at over here on Winans and 18th Avenue, you see new townhouses, Pilgrim Villages. Those type of, in these larger complexes like the senior buildings, they don't have lead service lines. A lead service line, again, this is a lead service line, very flexible, right? Small diameter pipe, comes in the smaller size is the size of about a nickel. The biggest size is about the size of a 50-cent piece. Right, every now and then you see a Susan B. Anthony. We banned this in 1953. Couldn't install it. So most of Central Ward, you know, it's a lot of townhouses and row houses and large buildings. But this is the new copper line. This is the line that we're putting in. It's copper, right? A little more durable. Can't bend it like I was bending the lead line. Right? And the copper comes in about all the way up to about 2.5, maybe 3 inches, you'll see. So they banned lead solder in 1986. You know, we don't see too much lead solder around. There's solder around, but it won't be lead solder. The city's water main, in some of the larger buildings, city's water main is made of ductile iron or cast iron. This is a cast iron pipe. Right? City's water main. City's water main is not made of lead. As the diameter of the pipe gets bigger, it needs to be a little more durable. A lead service line wouldn't carry enough water and it's too durable, but I mean it's too flexible, right? That it would break, it would burst. It can't carry the volume of water needed to feed one of these larger buildings, like the hospital, right? Like UMBMJ, big building, they need big pipes to get water. So if I had the small lead line, we turn on water in one place in that building, there will be no more water going none of the other floors. But you need pressure and flow, right? Flow to get it up to the top of the floor. So this is what the city's water mains are made of. Our water mains are not made of lead. The city conducts over 1,000 different tests monthly, right? And we report most of our tests on Water Watch. We send out an annual CCR, Water Quality Consumer Confidence Report. We send it out, I think every May we send that out, and it lets you know all the things that we test for and the levels that we found them in over the year. You ready? Can I just want somebody, if you got another address, somebody want to give me the address, I can punch it up? You gave me yours. It could be a made-up address. I'm just trying to.
57 11th Avenue.
57 11th Avenue. So again, we're aggressively in the a lot of wards, and we're moving into the Central Ward as we award contracts. So 57 11th Avenue. Our records show this residence has a lead service line, was built before 1986, is connected to Pequannock system. The replacement of the lead service line has been assigned to contract 26. Right? Please assist in scheduling the work. So we don't have a right of entry. So the right of entry is saying, this is the person we're going to contact, but when one of the contractors come, not saying you didn't register for the program, This is the contact person who's gonna be there to usher us in and out of the house the day that we do the inspection. And the right of entry form, you can fill that out online. Or if you did, okay, you did, okay, we'll fill it. So, and I think a lot of people are getting confused. There's two forms online. One of them is the register to have your line replaced, and one of them is the right of entry. The right of entry, you don't need to be the owner. September of this 2019, the city council passed an ordinance where we don't need the owner's permission to change the lead service line, right? You're a resident, the owner don't live in Newark, the owner's not around, you can give us permission to go in there and change the lead service line, and you won't be punished or by the owner. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Through the rumor mill that you spoke of earlier, I've heard that some of the pipes are being replaced inside of the lead service lines that exist, with the new copper pipe being run inside of the existing line.
No.
That's not.
So no, that's a rumor mill, so we don't run, so we have two independent engineering firms that's conducting inspections for us, like Grant Engineering, right, you're with Grant Engineering, and CDM Smith. So they validate the work that the contractor's doing. We also have some of our own engineers and inspectors out there. Omar Tun is back there, he comes around. So you can't run a lead pipe through a small copper pipe. So what you would be saying is, I'm gonna run this pipe through this pipe.
Well, you said they came in different sizes, and I heard it. I
Right,
wanted to clarify.
so the biggest one, right, Silver Dollar, Susan B. Anthony, can't run, it won't, you know, it won't. You hear a lot of things, but, I mean, feel free to come out if you wanna see how we're doing the replacement, yeah.
I think what some people may be confusing this with is the sleeves that you use to. Okay. Confusing with the sleeve that we shoot the copper pipe through, okay?
Okay.
That may be where the confusion.
So when we watched the video earlier, you seen the gentleman, and that gentleman just went through our apprenticeship program. So he's a guy that we put through about 30 people now. We had an apprenticeship program that we conducted with the unions to hire local Newark residents to work with some of these guys here, right? So that bullet is just a mold who's making a hole so as to pull the new pipe in, push it in. It's not the old pipe. That's why you hear it go, and he pulled it up. So as you watch that video, you'll understand that it's just a mold penetrating a hole for us to bring the new pipe in. Yes, sir.
So you said that some of the work being done, that some spots might have to be overseen.
No, all of it is overseen.
They're gonna be overseen, and the ones that's gonna be, blacktop's gonna be done with concrete. Who's gonna oversee that and make sure it happens?
So upon us coming out to do construction, we do pre-inspections. We take pictures, right? We take pictures, pre-inspection and post-inspection. So the purpose of us taking pictures, right? So we want to look at the area, how it was before we started working there, right? Because it's a time of opportunity. But not everybody, but some people say, oh, the contractor was working, he did this, all this broke, all that's broke, and we know that didn't happen. So we take those pictures. The contractor is not responsible for overseeing his own work. That's why we have like Grant Engineering, which is a local Newark engineering firm, and CDM Smith to come out, and our own city inspectors that you see out there, our city water department engineering staff, to review the work that the contractors are doing, right? So upon them leaving that day, they'll put a temporary patch down, which is that blacktop you see, right? Right, so as that get compacted in the street, we'll come back in the summer and we'll mill and pave that street. A lot of the streets will be milled and paved. On the sidewalk, as it settles, we'll come back and remove the blacktop, reseed it, and bring the dirt up to level. If it was a dirt area, if it was a concrete area, we'll pour concrete, weather permitting. Some of it may not even wait till the spring, but weather permitting, and we're able to pour concrete, and it was compacted, we'll come and pour the concrete. But all that work is inspected. We don't want to pour concrete when it's cold or the ground didn't settle yet, and we pour the concrete, and a week later, it's broken up again. You'll say they did a shabby job, right? And the contractors don't get paid until we verify, right, they did restoration, correct restoration. They'll get a partial payment for some of the work they did with the lead service line, but there's another aspect of that is ensuring that they did the proper restoration. and we don't come and bring you grass, we reseed it. We reseed it, bring you a little soil, but we won't be bringing grass. We reseed it.
Now, during the summer, will it be done right away, or we still have to, they still have to wait?
Some of the reseeding is done now, depends on the weather, right? But as the summer come in and as the weather cooperates, we'll get the bulk of it done, right? Meaning a lot of it can get done when it's warm. Concrete settles better, right, when it's warm. We don't want to be in freezing temperatures trying to pour concrete, right? We want it done the right way, effectively and efficiently. It's free, right? So we need to be free for everybody in the city, not just you. We don't want to waste money, right, by coming back, doing things that we shouldn't have did. We want this program, it's a free program, right? We just can't waste money because we want to, cater to you that want your sidewalk done today. But we need to follow the procedures that we have in place to compact it, let it settle, come back and put the concrete.
I got another question.
Yes.
The folks that have already had their lead service lines replaced, and you say you did post inspection now, you got a lot of people that still have high levels of lead while they got their lead service lines replaced. What could be the reason for that?
So if you look at the AWA guidelines, and this is why education is very important, it says you can see high level of lead results after replacements anywhere from 3 to 6 months. That's why the city come back out and we do post testing after 6 months. However, you still need to follow the procedures that we give you at the replacement. And a part of those procedures say go through the daily flushing and everything that you need to do. That's why the city still requires you to use this filter and tell you to come pick up a replacement cartridge. Because your lead service line was replaced don't mean, okay, I'm good today. You need to continue to use the filter until we tell you you don't have to. And when you get your lead service line replaced, it's important to follow the procedures that we leave on that little piece of paper, right? For every resident, to follow the flushing, the daily flushing and using the filter, cleaning your aerators, all that type of stuff, right? So you won't have the high lead levels.
And is the city still testing residents for lead in their water?
The city is still doing free testing at the health department, 110 William Street, from the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., Monday through Friday. They're doing a fantastic job over at the health department, testing your blood for lead.
So the residents gotta go to 110, or is the city going to test people's waters?
We can test your water after your replacement. We test your water, right, to the AWA standards, 3 to 6 months after, right, you had your service line replaced. So, and Ms. Stewart will go over this program in a minute. Sometimes we come out and do it ourselves, but we're constantly negotiating with this company right here. They'll be mailing it out for you to have your water be magnets. I don't want to steal all her fame and her glamour from doing it. She works that program, but she was sharing. Yes.
Is it correct that the United States Environmental Protection Agency and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection is also doing oversight of all of this?
Sure. We've been working with NJDP since we had this problem. They're here right now. They're in the house, right? And we've been working with the EPA once we noticed we had a problem. Actually, we reached out to the EPA in early 2018 to send them pipe that we took out of the ground, lead service pipe that we took out of the ground, to find out what type of problem we were having. We didn't guess it. We didn't just come up and say what happened. We sent it to the scientists to put under heavy, high-intensity microscopes to tell us what was going on.
That's why I asked that question.
Yes.
I got a question for Mr. Wardrobe.
Yes.
Ms. Ward.
Just had 2 questions. One, I was curious about what public verification or data on the lead water levels are supposed to prove that the lead service line replacement was effective. Where that people don't need filters. I mean, I know that the map and you have the website to look at the addresses, but I'm just curious if there's any other type of way to check to see that you don't have elevated levels of lead, because I've heard that there's been some independent testing from other organizations to show that there are elevated levels of lead in other parts of the city that aren't covered by the Equinox system. That was one, and then the other question was about.
So let me answer the first one. One, I'm very leery when people say they had independent testing, right? Because one, I had a lot of false alarms during the summer. People call companies in and companies start doing testing, not saying that they're not legitimate companies, right? They don't follow the same procedures that we're required to follow by the EPA and the DEP. That's the most important thing, right? Because lead just don't come off of a lead service line. You know, in 2010, we found out, right, the United States of America found out that the Chinese were sending toys over here with lead, high levels of lead. But at that same time, they also found out that the fixtures that we go and buy at Home Depot, Lowe's, or local hardware store were made of lead. You know, those bendable, had high contents of lead. So the city, right? So part of the orthophosphate that comes into the system, it helps coat that lead. But a lot of times it's the fixture. It's not a lead service line. It's not lead soldered. It's the fixture that you may buy that may have a high content of lead. And this summer, Rutgers is going to be doing a study, right? EOSHI, I think that is the environmental. They're going to be doing something where we were just at a seminar, me and the mayor, maybe about early December, when the scientists said they have a new machine that they're going to be using where they can pinpoint the sources of lead and where it's leaching from. As far as the results that the city take for every lead service line or every water sample we take, those results are posted on Water Watch. It's free. We also notify the customer. If you were here a little earlier, I said we're working as we update our Newark lead service line website. Soon we'll be able to post lead information of your most recent test on the site. We haven't gotten there yet. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to clear some of your questions. First of all, my name is Alpha. I'm a Newark resident. Went to high school here. Yeah. Went to high school here, went to college here at NJIT. One of the engineers that's doing the inspections for the city. The other aspect that we do is also we do test pits. So let's say you're not too sure if you have a lead line in your house. We'll come out and make sure that we dig on the curb stop and check what's going into the main, to the city, and what's going into the house. So after that, we also go back inside the house, the homeowner's house, and check what they have in there. So all of that is basically clarify and make sure that you replace the line completely. Sometimes you don't need a full replacement, sometimes you do. So in those situations, we'll have to, if you're not 100% sure, we'll have to come and do the testing.
So your company doing that?
Yes, we do the inspections contract.
Or you want the local contractor?
Correct.
We're the construction manager, and the contractor is Montana's here. They're Montana's one of the contractors in Central Ward that's actively working currently. There are other contractors catered to Central Ward and future contracts. And Grant Engineering and CM Smith, we're doing the oversight inspection, watching those contractors.
So I'm going to take one more question, and then I'm going to let Ms. Stewart go through the filter.
I want to say.
Okay, sure. Let's welcome the mayor, Ras Baraka.
What he said about first of all, we know the orthophosphate is working, right? So I know there's been all this, stuff that comes from this huge, these people who are, NRDC, whatever they're trying to do. But ultimately, the orthophosphate is working. The 75%, the levels went down by 75% since we first started testing them. Is that right? Started testing the lead levels.
So we've noticed that what the mayor's pretty much saying monthly, we've seen from our highest level, till November when we just tested, those monthly, we've seen a trend where it went down about 70%. However, again, overall during the testing period, we're down about 46 or 47%. So we know the orthophosphate, like he said, is working because we have a chart and it's every month we can see the results as the orthophosphate.
And the reason that there's a lead copper rule is because we can't take anecdotal information as scientific information. There may be household.
Website.
We can't take. When you were speaking, I didn't do that. So let's let everybody get the information. I'm not interested. No.
Lead still high.
When
we answered the question.
There's a difference between anecdotal information and scientific information. If there's 1,000 lead service lines or homes in the city, and 2 or 3 or 4 of those come up with high levels of lead, we have to go and find out what's going on in those homes particularly, right? Because what you may do is change the treatment of the water for 2 or 3 homes, and may even fix those homes, but create a problem for 1,000 other homes in the process. That's why there's a scientific process to this, to figure out if it's systemic or not. If it's not systemic, then you have to go to those homes and figure out why they're having specific kinds of problems. You don't want to change the pH or raise the levels of orthophosphate or do all these other kind of treatments to the water when you're not even specifically sure if there's a systemic problem, when it may only be 3, 4, 5 homes out of 2,000 or 3,000. So you have to be sure that there's a systemic problem before you make a systemic solution to that. Other than that, you have to go to those homes and deal directly with the homeowners about the problems that they may specifically have. So is it possible in other parts of the city that there may be high levels of lead in 1 or 2 homes or 3 homes? Absolutely. That may take place. And it's important for us to go figure out why that's happening. But if it's not a systemic problem, then we can automatically rule out the system being the issue and maybe begin to talk about what's happening specifically in that area or in those homes, or something that's the homeowner is doing, or maybe somebody's working on the line, or maybe there's some construction. All those things have to be taken into consideration when you're doing it, right? And it's in a very scientific way. You can't just arbitrarily make a decision because somebody came to a meeting, because people are upset. We have to do it scientifically in order to have a real response to what's going on in the city, so we don't mess everybody else up in the process of fixing 2 or 3 homes.
And one of the most important things to remember before I turn it over to Ms. Stewart is that it's a chain of custody form, right? On that chain of custody form, it always says the construction in the area. Did you do some new plumbing? Did you do things like that? And the reason they ask that is because, hey, I just changed the pipe in my house where I could have disturbed the old pipe by taking my hot water tank out, or my boiler, right, where I could have disturbed the thing with lead. Right? That's why we answer those questions. Go ahead, I'll give you one.
Thank you. Just because I had 2 questions, you answered one. I appreciate it. The second question was going to this issue of, the lead water levels. So the NJDEP website says that, we were in exceedance, for several months since, 17, and we're still in exceedance according to the NJDEP.
We are.
Right? That's like their latest data, and that's.
We are.
So
we never said we wasn't.
So this goes back to my first question about the, verifiable data, right? So if it's known that we're in exceedance and yet, you're claiming that there's a solution, right? I see a conflict there, right? I don't understand how.
No. So what happens is, first of all, in order for the orthophosphate to work, it takes 6 to 8 months before it even optimizes. Just because you put it in the water, it doesn't happen automatically. So it takes 6 to 8 months before it even optimizes. And while they're doing the loop study, I saw them doing the loop study so they can begin to see how much orthophosphate they actually have to put in the water in order for it to begin leaching, stopping the pipes from leaching. So they're doing this regularly and testing it. So each time they're adding more and more, they're raising the levels of orthophosphate in the water to see how effective it is becoming across the system. Over a period of time, that's why we said the levels are going down, because what it's saying is that the orthophosphate is having an effect on the lead in the water. And if we continue to do what we've been doing over a period of time, then the problem will subside. That's just scientific understanding of what's happening, right? That's not like an arbitrary guess or somebody's making it up. We added a chemical to the situation, you begin to see results. Those results are looking positive. In fact, in the municipalities around here, they're seeing similar results of the same thing happening in their water system. So what it tells us that we have to continue to do that, but while we're doing that, we need to make sure we also be cautious and allow people to use the filters until it's all the way down, and for future long-term, change the lead service line altogether, because 90% of the problem that you have is the lead service line, right? That's 90% of the problem is that, right? So that's a national thing. That's not nothing that the mayor made up, right? So at the end of the day, all over the country, they're trying to replace lead service lines. We're in front of that, and we want to continue to be in front of that. And there is evidence, despite the pundits. There are folks after the 6 months, or there are folks who even before the 6 months, when they removed the lead service line and they got the test, that those rates not only went below 10 parts per billion, but are almost non-detect, right? So there are folks that after the lead service line has been replaced, got 0.2, 0.1, 1, right? Based on their. So that tells me that we should continue to do it. right? So if we're doing that and people have a non-detect, that means we have to continue to do this and do it rapidly. Meaning that whether it takes 3 months, 6 months, 1 month, a half a month, that if we remove the lead service lines, there's a high probability that there will be non-detect lead in their water, which is why we're going to continue to do that.
And just to clarify what the mayor said, we had an exceedance, we got our first exceedance, right, after 25 years in 2017 in June, right? 6 months later, we were sending pipe to the EPA, right? We didn't start putting the orthophosphate in until 2019. So we had to really have the EPA, along with the DEP, we sent pipe coupons. We took these pipes out of the ground, these lead pipes, packaged them, followed all the rules to ship them out. They had to cut them open and test them. And we found those results, our preliminary results, back in October of 2018. Immediately, we rolled out a plan, working with the DEP and EPA, of what we were going to do, right? Reduced the immediate effects of lead, exposure to lead was the filters, right? Put in a new orthophosphate. We got it in a record time. We probably put orthophosphate system in faster than anybody in the country, right? Then we started pulling lead service lines out. So right now we got about 5,800. We'll update the thing in the morning. It may say 6,000. However, we're working at a rapid pace. 96 lead service lines per day. A contract will be going in front of the city council tomorrow to bring another contract on to remove more lead service lines. So, from March, when we started removing lead service lines, to now, about 5,800. May, when we started adding orthophosphate, to now, we're seeing the levels we drop. So with both of those programs going on simultaneously, right, we're still moving ahead with the path we laid out back in October. We haven't switched course. We had a little obstacle in the road when we thought the filters wasn't working. We shared that with you and gave bottled water out. Yes.
Some of the oldest structures in the city are schools. Are schools a part of this program, or is that a separate deal?
So to date, we haven't found any. We found 2 schools with lead service lines, and it was the old State Street School. It's like a historic building. It's not even open. I don't even think it's a school no more, right? It's not a school no more. But most of the schools, again, we did a joint inspection, and I want to say in 2016, with the school system, they did an inspection, then we did an inspection, then DEP made us go back out and do another inspection together. Right, we identified, we're looking for lead service lines in the schools. We didn't find them. We found some old lines in the school, water fountains. I went to Alexander Street School, and I left Alexander Street School in the 70s. I went back there, it was the same water fountain I had wrote re-initials on the side. It was still sitting there, they were still using it, and that was one of the water fountains they tested for lead. However, over the summer, it was a report that came out from one newspaper system saying that, it was high levels that was found in the school. The schools actually had turned off about 20 water fountains, and one of the schools was Howard Wilson on Muhammad Ali, which is not a school. It was used as a warehouse. They were remediating some of the pipes inside the school, not bringing water into the school. And they tested the pipes before they took them out and after they took them out to ensure that they were removing the stuff that was cut off since 2016. And that was an article. It wasn't a high level. They were just wanting to make sure that they did the proper testing before they reactivated some of that stuff.
So what's causing the high acid levels in the water?
I'm gonna move to the, because we've been here, I'm gonna move to Tiffany Stewart and Halima Shabazz on the filter roller.
Another question about the acid. These last 2 questions,
We'll answer them another time.
another time?
Yeah.
I thought this was questions.
Would you like some water, sir?
No, I'm good. Only drink Newark water from the tap. So Munira's question, right? She wanted to know about HAA 5s. So I don't want to think I'm running away from her question. She wanted to know about, I got it. She wanted to know about HHA 5s and hydroxylic acids. So we put a new treatment in. We put a new treatment in back in July.
You came over to me, I didn't bother.
Can I answer you?
No, I'm
You ready?
talking.
So we put it, so
My name is Sarah Elbumani.
So everybody else, so HHA 5s and hylocetic acids, right? We put a new treatment in back in July. We got approval from the state back in May. We started putting that new treatment in back in July. So the HHA levels are down. Treatment is working. We need 2 consecutive periods to fall below. It's a locational running average. We're seeing immediate results on that, right? We still have to notify you, right, as it drops. So that treatment is working, and it continues to work.
And I
So-
have a question for Mr. Walbrook with the,
That's it. You gotta let.
MBE, I
So
put it on the line.
MBEs and WMBEs, if you want to be certified or you want to get your license every quarter, every third week, third Monday in the new quarter, so that will be April, third week of April, Invest North teach classes all around the city. They pick out a site, and you come there and learn how to be certified.
That was not the question I needed.
What's the other question?
I wanted to know, because it's certain contractors that talked to me, they said that with the local contractor, they said they not be able to meet the capacity for the projects.
So let me just help you out.
Replacement.
So because you become an MBE or WMBE, we don't guarantee you a job. We make you, listen.
We're talking about the contract.
We make sure you have, listen, contracts. We don't, again,
Director, we should keep moving.
I'm gonna keep moving.
But let me just say that there, first of all, there are WMBs and MBEs that are subcontracting now.
Yeah, Grant Engineering one.
That'll stand and make a whole lot of money in this process. That's number one. And the other part of it is the city is doing the back office paperwork
Explain that.
for most of these companies. Did you explain that?
Yes,
Yeah.
we talked about that.
We're
The
doing most
question
of
I was
that
asking
for them.
was going to ask Mr. Wardrobe,
Ball drop.
Wardrop, whatever, whatever way, his name.
Nera, answer the question. Everybody came to a meeting.
I know you for years, you're a great man. And, I just wanted to know, are the local contractors having any issues with becoming a contractor for the lead service line replacement? Because some of them are stating that, they can't reach the capacity, so, or is the city doing no bid contracts? Because certain contracts you can do no bid, once you go under like, what, 18,000?
So,
Are they accepting
so,
contracts?
Mr. Waldrop, I'm gonna answer that for you.
Yeah,
So, Manera, what you asking is two different things. So if this a $5 million contract and you only can buy them for $2 million, you won't meet it. However, if you work for one of these guys that can, and you come in as a sub and you finish this project, as you finish project, your bonding capacity increase, right? So today, a mirror company, a mirror Bomani company is only able to do $250,000 worth of work. The insurance company only going to insure you, right, for $250,000 worth of work, right? Because this is a huge project for $2 million. As you work under that other company who has a $5 million capacity, but got the $2 million contract, it'll help you once you complete this project to maybe boost your $250,000 to $1 million or $750,000. So a part of the back office support that we're doing is bringing these guys so they can be at the table, with, right, as a sub. So maybe Bloomfield giving out a contract 2 years from now, he may be the gentleman because he worked on 3 or 4 projects in Newark. But now he's able to say, hey, I got $8 million in bonding capacity. I can bid on this contract for $4 million. I got it myself. I don't need to work for Montana, Roman, Underground, Spinello, Pacific.
And they doing a good job.
Right? And those people are doing a good job, but that's what he means by the back office support.
And just let me say, again, the objective is just not to have the contractors, the
Right.
subcontractors, the MDEs eat for the day, okay? Our objective is to prepare them to eat for the future, and again, become general contractors as opposed to always remaining a sub.
All right?
So the last question is that.
That's it. That's it. You're going to be respectful. That's it. Thank you. So I'm going to bring up, no, that's not it. We need to, Monera, you can ask Mr. Waldrop any question. We want to bring the people, we want to bring up Tiffany Stewart and Halima Shabazz. They'll go over the filter replacement.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tiffany Stewart. I'm the Assistant Director for the Department of Water and Sewer Utilities. So I'm just going to speak to you briefly about post-water testing after you've had your lead service line replaced. So as Director Deem stated, we've been working with a company. We're negotiating with them right now to try to solidify some terms for post-lead service line testing. That testing is going to happen 3 to 6 months after your lead service line has been replaced, most likely 6 months after your lead service line has been replaced. We did do a pilot back in the end of 2019. So some of you or some people in your neighborhood may have already received something that looks similar to this. Basically, what's going to happen is that you're going to receive some materials which will kind of let you know what you need to do and what you need to prepare for over the next several months as after your lead service line has been replaced. So you'll get flushing instructions like the director stated. You'll also receive information about what you need to do with respect to how to get your water tested. Now you can call and have your water tested at any time. You don't have to wait the 3 to 6 months after your line has been replaced. If you feel more comfortable getting a test sooner, you can, although you need to know that when the lead service line is replaced, that kind of disrupts the ground and the system, so you may see higher levels initially, but which is why we wait 3 to 6 months afterwards so we can get an accurate reading. So what's going to happen is you're going to start receiving some material that's going to tell you what you can expect. There'll be, for some, since Nork is majority renters in the city, you'll receive something in the mail that can be attached to your refrigerator like a magnet. It'll have the date that your lead service line was replaced and when you should be expecting a kit for your post-lead service line replacement. That information for your lead service line replacement should also be on the website that you were shown earlier, the norkleadserviceline.com, where you go to take action and check your address. Once your lead service line is replaced, it'll actually have the information there as well. So if for some reason you move residences in between this time and you don't know if they've had their line replaced or when you should be expecting to have your water tested afterwards, you can always go to that website, or like you said, if you're not computer savvy, you can call 973-733-6303. And we can provide you with that information over the phone. So what you'll receive in the mail is a box like this, and inside that box you'll have the bottle for your testing to collect your water. There'll be instructions included that sort of look like this. They'll be folded up, and those instructions will tell you what you need to do to collect your water. The process is similar to that that you do for the test that the water department does for free as well. So we just wanted to kind of give you guys some information so that you're familiar with the program and kind of know every step of the process while we're doing the lead service line replacement, and then after your lead service line is replaced, what to expect. So 3 to 6 months afterwards, but obviously, like I said, you can still call at any time before then, 973-733-6303 if you want to have your water tested before then. So are there any questions on post lead service line replacement water testing? If not, I'm going to have Halima Shabash. She's going to do the presentation on the filters.
Good evening. Good evening. Okay, so upon learning that you have a lead service line, you will go to one of our distributing facilities. You can pick one of these up at City Hall or 239 Central Avenue. So if you have a regular faucet that looks like this, you will receive a faucet mount. Some of them go directly on like this. Some of them have a twist on. So before you connect this to your faucet, before you connect this to your faucet, you will get a cartridge. You will find the aerators, and you will also find directions. Please make sure you read the directions before you begin assembling anything, because they are very important. They tell you everything that you need to know as far as assembly and how long your filter shall last you. So the cartridge goes in the filter, in the mount. Twist the top. Hold your faucet and the mount and securely press. And now it's on. So before you start using your water filter, you want to flush your faucet for about 5 minutes.
I just want to clarify something really quickly before she moves on. Just make sure that when you're putting your cartridge in, that you actually seat it properly. So you want to make sure that when you put it in, you twist it and you hear a little click. Because otherwise what happens is you're putting water through the filter, but it's bypassing the filter and just coming out and not actually being filtered by the media in this cartridge. So you want to make sure that it's seated properly. So when you sit it in the holder, you want to make sure you twist it and that you hear a little click. Once you hear that click, then you can put the top on and turn it on to begin flushing and conditioning the cartridge. But that's really important because if it's not seated properly, it will not filter out the lead. Right, so before you start filtering water through your cartridge, you want to flush your faucet for 5 minutes prior to flipping down this and running water through your filter. So after flushing for 5 minutes, once you install this, you want to turn this knob down. Make sure you're only using cold water to go through your filter and flush this for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, your filter is ready for use. Okay. In the event that this doesn't fit properly, we provide aerators for you as well as other faucet attachments. So let me backtrack a little bit. Before you attach this, you want to make sure you disconnect your aerator, wash it and clean it out, because some of us, like my mom, have not washed this in God knows when. So you want to make sure you knock it out, clean it out. Knock it out, clean it out, and replace it. And twist this back on. So for any of you, I'm not sure if you know, but this is what the inside of your filter looks like. This is carbon, and these are other particles to stop any sediments that come through your water. So do we have a volunteer who'd like to try to put the filter on just so you kind of understand how to put it on? Go ahead. You want to try to put it on? Me? Go ahead.
Parents, if anybody's a parent in here, it's important to teach your kids how to put this on as well. In the event that you're not home or they get home before you and they want some water, make sure you go over the directions with them too so that they are safely drinking water from your faucet. So what should you do? So what should you do? Come up. What should you do before, if nobody's been home all day, what should you do before you run water through here? Flush it for 5 minutes. And that's just because you haven't been home, things are just sitting in your pipe, and you want the most optimal drinking water possible. So you want to flush that water. Does anybody have any questions? Yes.
So are you saying that you have to put that on and off constantly, like repetitively, or you could just leave it on there?
You can leave it on, but just to ensure that you're not running water other than cold water through your filter, it's very easy to just top it off.
Say that again.
So you only want to run cold water through here. This is only for cold water. If you run hot water through here, it will lessen the life of your water filter.
And it can damage the media that actually filters the lead. So you don't want to run hot water.
So only cold water?
Only cold water.
When you're using the hot water, you remove it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So you're only using this for if you're making a pot of tea, if you're washing your fruits and vegetables, if you're making baby formula. This is when you use this. And the way that you know that you're using this is when you turn this little knob down. and it's running cold. Yes?
I just wanna, before, if it's, when you put this on your faucet, it actually swivels. So if you're washing your, if you're washing your dishes or anything like that, you can move it out of the way so that it's not in your way. If you want to wash your dishes with hot water, you can take it off, it's just, it kicks off extremely easily. There's a button right here on the side. You can come up if you want to
But I
see it.
thought as long as you don't turn that knob on the side down, your
I'm-
water is not been filtered. So that means you could leave it, don't turn it off, and use
I'm
your
getting
hot
to that.
water and
Yeah.
use your dishes.
I'm getting to that. So you can also,
Yeah.
So, she wants to show you how,
so you can try to put this on. It snaps on pretty easily. And if you want to take it off, there's a button right here. You just squeeze these two buttons. So it pops right off. You can actually also bypass the filter and run water straight through. If you want to do that, you just switch the lever. The water will come out straight through here. You'll know that it's not being filtered because you'll have the same flow of water that you have coming through your faucet. When it's being filtered, it's going to come out much slower. It's going to come out much slower, and it's going to come out the other side of the filter.
Filter, when it's getting dirty, you turn on it,
So-
and when it's red, that means you have to change your filter.
Yes?
My question is, every single time I come home, like, you got to drink the water, like, I cook with it and run it for 5 minutes.
You should flush your water. If no one's been home all day, you should flush your water.
You don't have to flush it before you do each of those activities. It's just once you come home, if nobody's been home for several hours, you want to flush it one time for 5 minutes, and then you can use it for the rest of the evening or the rest of the day. It's not that if you wash dishes, you need to flush for 5 minutes. If you want to make a pot of coffee, you need to flush for another 5 minutes. It's just one time because that water has been sitting in the lead service line for several hours, and you want to flush it out before you start to use it and filter it.
And one last question. So, when I'm at home, it's already warm or whatever, and I just turn the hot water on, but it's that. And then, this is my premise, I just turned the hot water, I thought it could just come down,
Yes, okay, so if you come home, you turn the hot water on, that's flushing, okay? When you want to run filtered water, you turn that hot water off, you turn on the cold water, and then you push this down,
Gotcha.
okay?
So I can still wash dishes.
You can still wash dishes with this on, yes. Okay. All right, so. Yes?
Sorry, just real quick, what are the different languages for the instructions?
Oh goodness, there are probably about 10. I think there's probably a language for everybody on here. If you want to look at this.
And every product.
First thing on there is French, Portuguese, Spanish, French,
Right, so the life of your filter is shown by the clear sensor light that's here. Probably like two clicks. Okay, there it is. Go back. So when you see a green light, that means it's working properly and you're good to go. Yellow light means pay attention because the life of your filter is dwindling. Red light means it's done, don't use it anymore, change your filter. Okay, so this lasts for about 40 gallons, 40 to 80 gallons, about 2 months. Depending on how many people you have in your family, depending on how much water you drink, it's really dependent upon, I would say it's per household, dependent upon. But this light, this clear sensor monitor will tell you how long you have with this filter. And you have to pay attention to that. So green is good, yellow, pay attention, red, done. Change your filter. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I'm sorry, yes, change the cartridge. So, all you would do is take it out. A new one would be wrapped in foil like this. You replace it, make sure it's seated properly. You'll hear a click, or you can twist it until it clicks. And again, you want to flush this for 5 minutes. If you've been using your faucet, you don't have to flush this for 5 minutes, but you have to flush the cartridge so it activates what's inside here to filter your water.
The cartridge is recyclable?
Are the cartridges recyclable?
I mean, I wouldn't know, but people been putting them in the recycle. I haven't heard our recycling department say, don't put them in there. So I'm assuming.
Well, you know what? So there's a company called TerraCycle, and they are a company that recycles hard to recycle plastics. I believe they would be able to recycle these plastics, called TerraCycle. They are in, I think it starts with the M. I don't know. But they're in New Jersey here, TerraCycle. Okay, so for the pitcher, if you have a faucet that has a gooseneck that doesn't allow you to put this pitcher, this filter mount on your faucet, we would supply you with a pitcher filter. So upon getting your pitcher filter, you would get the pitcher, you would get the filter cartridge, and the first thing you want to do is put water in here, because this is already an apparatus you can fill water. Put water in here, and you submerge this cartridge for 15 minutes. You let it soak for 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, you pour this water out, you do not use this water, and then you run this under your faucet for 10 seconds. This is activating the carbon inside of the filter. This filter looks exactly like the filter that, the cartridges that are passed around. Replace the top, put the cartridge inside. You're going to hear a click. You're going to feel a click until you can't turn it anymore. You turn it clockwise. So turn it till you feel it click. Did you feel the click? Got it? It's in there. Turn it till you feel the click. Got it? It's kind of, you gotta listen, because it's light.
It's not really a hard click.
No, it's not a hard click. So you more so feel it than you hear it. But when you can't turn it anymore, that's when you know it's in properly. Okay? And the importance of that is so that when you put water in this top part, you're not getting unfiltered and filtered water, because that happens sometimes. So you want to make sure that this is seated properly so that you're only getting filtered water through here. You want to pour some? Sure. So the thing with the filter pitcher, the pitcher filter, is that it doesn't have the pressure from the faucet to push the water through it. So it's going to happen more slowly. So if you want water right away, unfortunately you're going to have to wait. Okay, so you'll start to see it drip through. This is probably going to happen more slowly than ever because this hasn't actually been soaked. This filter cartridge hasn't been soaked. So you'll see it happening eventually, but you know, prepare to wait because it's gonna be a little bit. So this filter also has the clear sensor monitor. You want to hold this button for 5 seconds and then you'll see the entire thing light up. Okay? So this also does the same thing. Green means your filter is good. Yellow means you have to pay attention because it's, the life of it is dwindling. And red means it's done. You need to change your cartridge. It's not filtering out any lead or any sediments or anything anymore. Okay, so the life of this is about 30 to 60 days, depending on, again, how often you drink water, how many people are in your family, you know, making sure you're also putting cold water in this filter. Does anybody have any questions? important that you remember and remain using your water filter cartridge or your faucet mound, because the chemicals that are put in the water are still working, and it takes 3 to 6 months for them to show up in your water, as well as for anything that was there to move its way out. So it's important to continue to use these. We have them available at Central Avenue, 239 Central Avenue, and 920 Broad Street, City Hall, room 117. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions? They're also available at the rec centers, St. Peter's, Lombardi, JFK, and what's the other one? Boylan, that's right.
So you get
And go ahead. You can pick up.
11 to 6 p.m.
You can, from the health department, you can pick up filters from 8:30 to 4:30, and from Central Avenue, you can pick them up from 7 to 11, and on the weekends as well. The rec centers, you can pick up Tuesday through Friday from 11 to 7, Saturday from 10 to 8, and they're closed Sunday and Monday. If you need assistance with installing or maintaining your filters or cartridges, you can always give us a call. We'll send somebody out to help you with the installation or the changing of your filter cartridge. That number again is 973-733-6303. Or you can email the Water and Sewer Department. That's waterandsewer@ci.norc.nj.us. So if you need assistance, please let us know.
So I just want to be mindful that the city has other lead programs. The city has one of the biggest home lead abatement program in the country, and has been doing lead abatements in housing for over 60 years now. We want to thank the state. Allison, you want to come up for a second? Allison's with the state, and she's helping us. We're getting out the message about lead and lead abatement and all the wonderful programs that the city of Newark is doing, and the state is helping us. Come on, Allison.
Come over here so y'all can hear me. Hi, good evening, everyone. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but like Kareem said, my name's Allison. I'm from the Office of Local Government Assistance at NJDEP. As Kareem said, we've been working with the City of Newark, from the beginning, so I want to thank them for all the work they're doing. Thank you, Mayor Baraka. Some of the things we're doing now are we're sharing some supplemental information. Some of this filter education that you've heard tonight, we have more information on it in the back. We have copies of some of the flyers, like the Pure Filter flyer, the Newark flyer that was handed out. We are also working on having information in a variety of languages. Right now we have English, Spanish, and some of our information's in Portuguese, and we're working to try to get that in as many languages as we can. So we're also sharing on other sources of lead. Like Kareem said, it's not just in the water. There's lead-based paint concerns. There's other concerns from imported goods, so we have some information on that as well. So I really would encourage you to stop by our table in the back, take some material. We also have little bags to take it all home in using #NoLead to kind of remind you of all of these different sources. And so please take some information and also take it and share it with your neighbors. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
I want to, so Mayor, you want to say thank you? Oh, you said it? Hey, thank everyone for coming out. Thank Reverend DeVoe and his staff for letting us come in and use the facility. Thank the councilman and the mayor. And thank our contractors for coming out. Thank you very much.